I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everybody. We'll do a quick roll call here to determine a quorum. Councilor Baumgartner. Here. Evers. Here. Ferguson is coming, I assume. Howard. Yep. I am here. We do have a quorum. We'll call the meeting to order here. Want to thank the government class, portion of the government class from Miss Gross's bold government class here today. Anyway, we're going to begin the public forum process here of our council meeting. It's a time when we invite the public to address council. When addressing council, we ask that you provide your name for the meeting record. Speaking time will be limited to 3 minutes. If further action needs to be taken after that 3 minutes, we can always direct staff to follow up. So is there anybody from the public here to address council? And anybody online here to address council? Not seeing any movement there. We'll close down the public forum portion of the meeting and reopen the regular meeting with the setting of tonight's agenda. We've got the agenda in front of us. We've had it since Thursday evening, had a chance to take a look through it. In the agenda is a consent agenda, you'll see. If there's any items from the consent agenda that you would request to be taken out into discussion, now would be a great time to do that. There are no items from the consent agenda to take out or no items to add to the agenda. I'll call for a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
So moved. Second.
Motion's been made by Evers, seconded by Howard to approve the agenda. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Agenda passes as carried. Moving down to the consent agenda here. Consent agenda contains regular meeting minutes from September 2. The first reading of ordinance 2025-08, which is amending the zoning map. Resolution 84 is calling for public hearing for the final assessment for unpaid refuse fees. Resolution 85 is calling for public hearing for the abatement of a nuisance property. Resolution 86 is accepting quotes from Everstrong Construction for work on the electrical shed. Resolution 87 is accepting a quote from Control Inc. to replace computers at the wastewater treatment plant and water treatment plant. And resolution 88 is approving airport maintenance operations grant agreement with Minnesota Department of Transportation. And resolution 89 is authorizing a temporary step increase for the assistant liquor store manager serving as interim liquor store manager.
Mr. Mayor, could you also read letter C, please?
Sure. Resolution 83 calling for a public hearing for the proposed ordinance amending the official zoning map of the city of Olympia, Minnesota.
Thank you.
I'll call for a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda.
So moved. Second.
Motion's been made by Ferguson, seconded by Baumgartner to approve the consent agenda as written. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Consent agenda carries as written. Moving down into discussion items. Discussion item A is a public hearing on the assessments of past due utility counts on property taxes. So the process on this is to recess the meeting, open up public hearing, receive some staff reports, receive public comment specifically directed on the assessment of past due utility accounts, and then reopening to the regular meeting. So at this point, we'll receive some staff reports.
Our utility account coordinator is here.
Hello all. Okay, so I'm just gonna give a little rundown of how we go about doing our assessment of our utilities. What we do is we run a report of anything that is past due for accounts from July 31st of the previous year, so 2024 of last year to July 31st of 2025. We then prepare letters to the current owners of those properties. I also sent if there was tenants in those properties at that time that those bills actually belonged to. I did try to find a forwarding address for those tenants, so they also received that letter. We also added this year that they could get a hold of us, set up a payment plan if they so wished, to try to avoid an assessment. We do, and then some of them did call to work with us on that so that it did not need to be assessed. We have had some people reach out. Then it has to be published in the paper twice before we hold this meeting tonight, so that happened at the beginning of September. And next month, we will have a resolution that will be presented to you with anybody who has not paid. That will be their remaining balances for those to be certified, along with a $5 fee added to each of those that the county assesses to those. And then that list will be sent to the county to be assessed to each property. And then we will make a new utility account for each of those, because we need to act like we're starting new for each of those accounts. So only if they have an active account. If it's an account that is no longer active, we don't start a new account. But if it's an active account, we start a new account. So yeah, so that's sort of the process. They can still pay after it gets sent to the county. They still have a little bit of leeway to try to get it paid. But we suggest that they try to get it paid here by the 15th before we send it to the county. Yeah.
What percentage of the bills in town are have delinquencies?
Well, as you can see, there was quite a few. You have the list of delinquent accounts. I don't know the exact percentage. I did not figure that out. We did not assess in 2023 for the 23. But we did not assess last year in 2024 for the 2023 to 2024 because we were in the middle of changing utility account coordinators. So you're probably seeing more accounts than you normally would. Our goal is to not have any. You know what I mean? Like, so a majority of these, I would say close to 85% of these are tenants who have moved out and left their last month bill not paid for. So like I said, my goal is to not have to assess at all. I'm trying really hard to keep people on the right track and not get behind at all.
When you assess a apartment building, does the property owner then have to pay those?
Yep,
And
it goes to
do
the
they-
property owner.
Do they work with you to get the tenant to pay, or?
So that would be them who try to get the tenant to pay. A lot of our property owners would probably go about maybe, you know, if they would talk to the tenant on their own, but we do not work with them to try to get the tenant to pay. They have to do that part on their own. Yeah, but like I said, I did try to reach out to any tenant and send them a letter to hoping that they would step up and pay, but that was about as far as I could go. And that was only if I had a forwarding address.
Mhm.
So, yeah,
But the landlords do have the right to go after the tenant
yes,
in
Yeah.
court, so
Yeah.
the landlords won't be left
yeah,
paying it, you can go after. the
Well,
tenant.
if they assess those taxes, or does it get paid in the year one, or does it get paid over a number?
I think it all goes to year one.
Okay.
Mhm. Anything else?
I did put the list up. It's really small because I tried to put all the accounts on the screen, but I did put it up.
Yeah.
Get you a magnifying glass.
We can go zoom
But yeah,
in.
like I said, I really am trying, and my goal is to have this be not, have there be no bills that we need to assess, but. And the ones that are like, you know, landlords get, all of these bills show up on their statements every month, so they know if anybody moves out, if there is a balance. And it stays on there until the balance is taken care of, so that tenant does not fall off that statement until a balance is taken care of, so.
And I will say Jody has done a really good job in this first year of holding people accountable so that they can't rack up some of the large numbers
That we
that,
used to have.
that we used to have.
Yeah, I was literally looking at them going, wow, they're all pretty small.
Yeah,
what
so that's
you said.
really a testament to her diligence in working with people and following up with people and having to take a really firm line when talking with people, because if you can think of a sob story, Jody has heard it. But she's done a really great job.
And some of them might even be real, but.
Some of them might be real, yeah.
How they bill.
Yeah,
I said, that's,
exactly.
you know, it's still my job, whether I feel bad for them or
Right,
not,
right.
it's, Mhm.
Okay, any other questions from the council? At this point, we can receive some receive some public comment on the assessment of past due utility accounts. Is anybody here from the public here to speak specifically about past due utility accounts and how they may be assessed here? Not seeing any movement there, so we'll close down the public comment portion of the public hearing on assessments of past due utility accounts. Reopen the regular meeting and move on to discussion item B, which is resolution 90. That's the approval of the HRA EDA tax levy.
So moved.
Second. Okay, there's a motion to approve the tax levy for the HRA EDA. Made by Ferguson, seconded by Evers. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Okay.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, we'll move down to item C, which is resolution 91. This is the setting of the preliminary tax levy and setting up a truth and taxation hearing date.
Yeah, so after 2 budget work sessions, one significantly longer than the other. This is where we have come to for our 2026 preliminary tax levy. Some of the numbers that you see in particular that have changed so much is obviously the debt service. If you look at that table, has jumped quite a bit. The debt for the City Hall project that you are currently sitting in the space, that is anticipated to come due at the latter half of 2026. Another area that you can see a significant jump is the CIP, the capital improvement plan. After a lot of discussion in my short time here of 2 years, I continue to hear the concerns about one, how are we going to sustainably fund the city's fire department with the increased costs of their equipment, particularly their trucks? And then the continuation of hearing that we do have a lot of city assets that are coming of age and need things like roofs and air conditioners and things like that. And while we have a CIP for a lot of city equipment such as trucks, we didn't have anything really in place for building maintenance. And so after a lot of discussion, we decided to add those 2 things to be better stewards of the city assets we are currently stewards of, in charge of. And so that's why you see kind of those 2 biggest jumps when you see the 2025 levy versus the proposed 2026 levy. All of the other increases are fairly small, contributing to cost of living increases, things like that.
Okay, so we've had some discussions at length over the proposed 2026 tax levy. And we did settle on the number and to bring to this particular meeting, but we'll open up conversation here on the preliminary tax levy. Any conversation from the council to add right now?
Oh, it's just that we're gonna have to choose carefully what projects we pick to do going into the future, because. You know, in investing terms, we're really close to out of dry powder, feels like to me, there's not much left to go fire at some problem that we have. So on top of taxes going up, our opportunities dip too, because we're pushing it. So we need to have that in mind. We've done a lot. And we gotta get used to what we did. And I think for me, that means like really, really scrutinizing any projects that come before the council to do, because we've spent all our money, it feels to me. So just want to be careful going into the future.
That's wise. Anything else? Call for a motion to approve resolution 91.
Mr. Mayor, if we could
Oh,
also
yeah.
name the date of the hearing, the
Right.
date and time of the public hearing, that would be fantastic in the motion.
Does 2 weeks from now work?
Sorry, the date of truth and taxation will be December 1st.
Oh.
We have time, we have a couple months.
I'll call for a motion. To approve resolution 2025-91 and set the date of the hearing for December 1st.
2020, yep.
2025.
Soon after 6 P.M.
At or soon after 6 p.m.
I'll second.
Motion's been made by Ferguson, seconded by Evers to approve resolution 91 and set the truth and taxation hearing date and time. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution 91 carries. Okay, we'll drop down here into reports. Any reports from the council?
No, I think I was out of town for the PUC meeting. Is there any update from PUC?
Yeah, so PUC is, they received a photo update on the progress of the 2 utility shed projects, which I can share around with you all as a PDF. Just so you can see photos of how those projects are going. They also started discussing storm water charges for vacant parcels. So we have a number of parcels without structures on them throughout the city. Water runoff still happens on those parcels, and so to be more consistent with our policy we're looking at vacant parcels that potentially should be being charged these stormwater fees because they do run off into our storm sewer, and right now they're not paying anything. So we're looking at that. When we started looking into that issue, we realized there were more vacant parcels than we probably realized, and so we're going back to look at, I mean, some of those vacant parcels are in the middle of the field right now. So we're taking a little, it's very easy to say, okay, this is a vacant parcel, butt it up against the street, going into our storm sewer. What is going on with those parcels that have farm on them? So that's kind of what we're starting to look at to be more consistent with our policies as well.
Any other committee meetings?
No, but I did talk with Tracy and she did say that they were installing the doors today.
Oh.
For the pools, working on that and getting all of that going. So she was excited about that and coming up with some ideas with Elizabeth for future promotions for the pool, which is pretty good.
Wonderful. We did have a community education meeting today. Elizabeth and I both serve as non-voting members on that, but anyway, they hired a new director. I don't know this director. New director for community education, and she seems very enthusiastic about bringing some programming to the community. So we're very excited about that. We had a planning and zoning meeting last week where we talked a little bit more about accessory dwelling units and other accessory buildings and how we can fit growth into our codes when it comes to those types of structures. And that's about all I have. Any other committee reports from the council? Any other reports from staff?
You'll see in your packet, the award letter for the supporting community engagement grant. We received a $500 grant to do programming geared towards our older residents at the Armory, so we're working on doing that. And then just to report out, Rib Fest went really well, so thank you for everybody who attended. It sounded like they almost sold out. They maybe had 7 tickets left by the end of the night. Also, pains me to say this, but congratulations Bird Island for being the winners of Rib Fest. Both the community, like the Public Choice Award and the Veterans Award, they actually were really good ribs. So, but, so those are kind of, I mean, everybody else kind of covered the committee reports.
Any other reports from other staff? Water's running good? Perfect. All right, with no other business on the agenda, I'll call.
Notices and communications.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You guys, on Thursday night. We're gonna be watching the Goonies in the park. You guys familiar with the Goonies? All right.
We hope to see you all there.
And then during the day is the third Thursday celebration or event that that Main Street puts on. They block off Main Street there. And our Main Street, department has food vendors and other vendors there, so we encourage the community to engage in that as well.
Perfect.
With no other business on the agenda, I'll call for a motion to approve adjourned.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's made by Howard, seconded by Ferguson to adjourn. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah.
You guys gotta go to the Goonies, I'm telling you.